it really is about holding not only ACS accountable, but also the foster care agencies, and also our mayor and our public advocate, as well as the commissioner of ACS. You know, those children that just recently lost their lives, under the supervision and watch of ACS and the foster care agencies, they were only on the news for what, one day, right? One day, 1 hour, 1 minute, and then everyone goes back to their normal daily routines, and it's back to business as usual. So we want to bring awareness, we want to bring exposure, and we don't want for people to forget what's really happening to our children, and it's really affecting the minorities. It's really affecting our Black and Hispanic families. These are the families that are being impacted. These are the children that are being ripped apart from their homes, and these are the children that are suffering. So they're going from foster care right into the juvenile justice system. And you know, what are we going to do about it? So we put together this film to, you know, bring about that question. By looking at this, what are you going to do about this? Are you going to now go ahead and continue to research the truth about what's really going on? Are you going to get involved actively by volunteering with organizations such as ours? Or are you going to write your legislators and really talk about what's happening behind the scenes and how people need to get involved? Or are you going to become a foster parent maybe? You know, we need foster parents, but what it really is, the question is, we really need you to do something about it. So we have a couple of our foster parents that are here that are going to talk and share a little bit about their experiences with the child welfare system. They're actively involved in doing advocacy work on behalf of children as well as foster parents. And so if we can have you come up.
This is a parent affected by the child welfare system. She's going to share her testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Sylvia. I had no idea about ACS. The only thing I did know about it was a couple of friends that had cases, and I helped them out by holding their children for them. I went on visits and things like that, but I didn't know the whole, the trial and tribulation that they went through until it hit my home. And it hit my home due to my daughter having an issue with me, an unresolved issue. And I tried many times to go to her to talk. I went to the system to try to get help. There was no help for me because my kids wasn't in the bracket of which they could get the help. I said, he's not there yet, I don't want you to remove him. I walked out of the court with nothing to do. When my son acted up, he didn't want to live in the Bronx. He was 17. When they came to my home, what they did for him was to remove him just because he didn't want to live in the Bronx, which was totally wrong. Because there was no issues that they helped me with. I did report the issues that he was starting with. What happened to him when they did remove him, he almost had a gun charge hanging with my nephews in Brooklyn where he wanted to go because he was the oldest of the group. Those are the things that I tried to tell them. They swept it under the rug. Everything I did for my kids, they swept it under the rug like I was a parent that wasn't doing anything. They didn't go to the schools. They didn't go to my job. They didn't do any of those things. And because my daughter trained with them, they had her go against me even harder. They never had her sit down and ask her what was the issues. She just had allegations, ongoing allegations. The removal of my other kids was false. The cop said he thought the CPS was making the wrong move. She was a graduate just coming out of school. And they had no one, they didn't send no one that was trained with her. So when she came to my house, she did a few inconsistencies. But me not knowing my rights, I couldn't even confront her with it. I did have a witness I brought to court. They really didn't want to hear the story. And from there, it was a down scale. Because I thought the system was built to help us. And now I'm down here. And I'm a parent that want to fight to help other parents, you know, to know their rights, to go with them to court, to conferences and things like that. Because now my daughter, what she thought she was helping me with, it didn't turn out to be help. And now she don't know how to come back to me and say, I'm sorry. So now my life is turned upside down. I lost my job, my apartment, and everything.
Oh
And nobody in recourse to say, well, it was a mistake. They're never going to tell me that. I know that already. So now my kids are in kinship. They were in kin gap, then they're in kinship. So she's fighting against me to keep my twins. She called the case on me again when I tried to escort my son to the doctor by calling the police, and he ran to her house. So they arrested me. She didn't know all of that, but they arrested me, and I went through the whole process all over again. So out of this, what happened to me is a learning experience. It's a learning experience. I'm not a mother that hit my children. I always talk to them. I might talk too much. You know, I'm not as firm as I should have been with them, to where they really don't have the level of respect that they're supposed to have. But God will deal with that. I'm only here to take care of you. But that is my story, that they put family against family, which is my daughter, and I feel that was a wrong injustice.
Yeah,
and I'm out to fight for justice. And my daughter just had a son, and she will see what, you know, the road. She'll see the road. Okay, thank you.
Started in March 2008. I had a visiting nurse visiting my mom, and this person saw me very busy with the children, my mom, the apartment, things like that. So she spoke to her supervisor. There was incidents where I used to leave my children with my mom, but my mom was not as bad as they made it seem. And so she told her supervisor that was leaving them with her for a very long time, but there was a visiting person that was coming to my home, which was the foster mother's mother, and she was assisting me with the children, with my home, with my mom. But then ACS got involved because the supervisor called, because we got into like a little argument, and I never spoken to this person before. So when I spoke to her and I said, listen, I can't get to argue with you, I don't have a lot of minutes on my phone, I have to hang up. 3 hours later, ACS was at my door. They came in, they checked the children were fine. So they left. They said, someone is going to come tomorrow from ACS to see you. So I said, okay. So I never knew about ACS and what they do, the kind of things that happens with them. So they came the following day. I allowed them in. They said that they would help me with services and things like that, things for the children. So I thought it was a positive thing to have someone to help me and give me the help that I need, because the children were young. They were two, one was going to be 1 year old and 1 month old. And I was juggling all 4 children, dealing with my mom, dealing with the apartment. I was in court for the apartment. I was having appointments for the children. I had welfare appointments. I had all kind of issues. So I thought allowing them in would be positive, like I said. So once they got involved, I had a worker. Her name was Martha Franco. She came in supposedly to assist me, but then she said to me, because I used to have a lot of appointments, so I said, I need to get to these appointments, which have to do with welfare. Everybody knows how that is. If you don't show up, you get sanctioned. Oh no, I'm okay. It's okay. I'm an ACS worker. They're not going to do nothing. Oh, I got sanctioned. 25% of my case went down. Then that started causing me stress. Then they found lead in the apartment. I was supposed to go to a shelter. I went to the shelter. It was terrible. Back then, PAF was in an old building in the Bronx. And we went to this place. I was there from 12 to like 1 in the afternoon. No, I got there at 12 in the afternoon. I didn't get a place to sleep, and it was still 11:30 at night. A fight broke out. I found it too much of chaotic to be there with all these children, my mom and everybody. So I decided to go to my friend's house, and my mom went back to the apartment. The following day, the worker was supposed to call me. She never did. So I called her. Then she's telling me how, oh, you need to come to the agency because they're going to take the children. And I said, well, come and help me. She said, no, I can't do that. And I said, so how am I supposed to get there? I can't get there. I have 4 children, 2 barely walk and 2 don't. And so I'm like, this is impossible. Then I was like, oh my goodness, you got me so frustrated. You're putting so much pressure on me. I said, I feel like killing myself. My mistake. I didn't know. you saying that would cause chaos. Oh, she sent the cops, 7 cops, the ambulance, they surrounded me in my friend's house. My son Louis was sleeping. He woke up to a stranger, started screaming. The 2 older children were a little more aware than the younger ones, so they started crying. Then they threw me in a mental institution, took the children, put them in a place in Coney Island. When I go see the children in the foster agency, which was actually Grand Window at that time, I was dealing first with that. Then Catholic Guardian came in the picture. So I go to see the children. They were in horrible conditions. All 4 were sick with vomiting and diarrhea. They had robbed all their clothes off of them. One of my boys had girl shoes on. They were starving. It was a summer day. It was like June. And my daughter had pajamas on. They looked terrible. So they did an emergency removal. They separated the 3 older children. My youngest was 1 month. I barely saw him because the foster parent hardly went to visits. So then they gave me the kids back after 5 months. But the boys were so traumatized, it was hard to deal with all 4 children. And because they impacted me the way they did, I was afraid to use services from them because it was just so much chaotic stuff going on with that it was like I was alert now. So I didn't want to, handle with them. I wanted them to stay away. But then they gave me those kids back, and I started working with them. It was very hard. They wanted me to put them in daycare. There was people involved. No one could find a daycare. So I found a daycare on my own. It was too far. So then they ended up taking the children again. They made me go through this again. They'll put them in respite. In respite, it was the 3 older children. There, my daughter was hospitalized because she got pneumonia. And she had to stay 3 nights in the hospital, which I stayed with her, while the other 2 were in respite. And the baby was with the foster mother's mother, which was helping me at the time. And I met these 2 females through the